I knew it would happen. The moment I started building my life around discipline, around small victories, around the illusion of control, I knew that one day I would wake up and everything would feel gray. Not broken, just empty. Like someone had drained all the color from the world while I slept. That morning came exactly 3 months after I started my journey. I had been so proud of myself. I felt invincible. But on that Tuesday in October, my alarm went off and I couldn't move. My spirit felt like it was made of lead. And in that moment, I realized my system hadn't just failed me. It had become my prison. And to get out, I didn't need a better plan. I needed an escape map. Here's what nobody tells you about building discipline. It's not about creating an unbreakable system. It's about creating a system that knows how to break properly. Most people think discipline is this monolithic wall of consistency. Wake up at 5 a.m. every day, work out, read, meditate, never miss a day, never be human. But walls, no matter how thick, have a fatal flaw. They're rigid, and rigid things don't bend, they shatter. When life throws you that curveball, your perfect system becomes a source of shame. You lie in bed staring at the ceiling, knowing you should be productive, but knowing and doing are separated by an ocean of gray fog. That's when the real enemy reveals itself, the zero effect. One missed step becomes a tumbling cascade down the mountain you spent months climbing. The breakthrough came when I realized I wasn't building one system, I was building two. The first was for my good days, what I call growth mode. This is the system that gets me results. But the second system, this is where the magic happens. I call it survival mode. And it's not about growth, it's about not losing ground. It's about falling gracefully instead of crashing spectacularly. My survival mode protocol has exactly two components, and this simplicity is crucial. When you're in crisis, you need something so automatic it happens without conscious thought. The first is the anchor habit. It's one non-negotiable action so automatic it feels absurd. Lying there that morning, crushed by apathy, the only thing my brain agreed to without a fight was making my bed. It was a joke, right? But in that total chaos, that tiny island of order became my life raft. The second is the recovery action. This isn't about productivity. It's about psychological first aid. I had tried to meditate, but my thoughts attacked me. I tried to read, but the letters swam on the page. Then I just sat by the window with a cup of tea for 5 minutes. No agenda, no goal. And for the first time that day, the gray fog in my head began to clear. Here's what changed everything. I redefined what victory looked like on my worst days. Instead of measuring success by how much I accomplished, I measured it by whether I went to bed having completed my survival protocol. Made my bed? Victory. Sat by the window for 5 minutes? Victory. That's it. Instead of ending the day in a spiral of shame, I ended it with a sense of accomplishment. Small, maybe, but real. And that tiny victory became the foundation for tomorrow's recovery. But I have to be honest, my first survival protocol was a disaster. It was still too ambitious. Do a 10-minute stretch and make a healthy smoothie. The very first time I needed it, I failed even at that. And that failure taught me the most important rule. Your emergency plan can't just be simple. It has to be stupidly simple. So when you build yours, start there. The most important thing is that it must be designed when you're feeling good. Crisis planning done in the middle of a crisis is like trying to build a life raft while you're drowning. Identify your most automatic habit. This becomes your anchor. Then choose one thing that consistently makes you feel slightly better. This becomes your recovery action. Write it down, put it somewhere visible. Practice it when you don't need it, so it's available when you do. What I discovered is that having a survival protocol changed how I approached my good days too. Knowing I had a plan for the worst-case scenarios made me less anxious. This is what psychologists call preparedness confidence, the calm that comes from knowing you have a plan. The strangest thing about building a survival protocol is that it actually makes you less likely to need it. When you remove the catastrophic thinking from your worst days, they become less frightening. You're not laying in bed thinking, I'm a failure. You're thinking, this is a storm, I have a plan, I will weather this. Planning for your worst days doesn't invite them, it disarms them. As I write this, it's been 2 years since I first developed my protocol. I've used it probably 30 times. Each time I went to bed knowing I had survived with dignity. But here's the real victory. Those survival days gradually became shorter and less frequent, not because I became superhuman, but because I became human. I stopped trying to be perfect and started trying to be prepared. The discipline that lasts isn't the discipline that never fails. It's the discipline that knows how to fail forward. Tonight, before you go to bed, I want you to do something. Think about your worst day in terms of motivation and energy. Now, imagine waking up tomorrow feeling that way. What would you need to do to go to bed tomorrow night feeling like you hadn't lost ground? Write it down. Make it simple. Make it automatic. Because your worst day is coming. Not because I'm pessimistic, but because I'm human, and so are you. And when it comes, you'll either be ready for it, or you'll be surprised by it. The choice is yours. The people who scare chaos the most aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall beautifully, stand up immediately, and keep walking. That's the real power of discipline. Not the power to be perfect, but the power to be prepared. Not the power to never fail, but the power to fail forward. And that power, that's unbreakable.